All right, welcome everybody to the Remodeler Show, the Monday, August 17th, 2020 edition. I think first and foremost, you guys are probably dying to hear, are you okay? You had to cancel Friday's show. I've never canceled a Remodeler Show in all the weeks that we've been doing this. But Thursday, actually, it's got to go back. I'll have to tell you the whole story. Last Tuesday, after many, many attempts and a lot of close calls, my son Thomas, who is recently 14, defeated me in basketball. I have been holding him off. I have pulled victory from the jaws of defeat many times, and he finally beat me. And I had to tip my hat because he beat me. And then the next night, Wednesday night, he did it again, which kind of ticked me off. But I tipped my hat again. But Thursday, I was, no. He's not going to do it a third time. My wife even came out to put a little chair out there to watch. And I would say that I was slightly aggressive. I may have karate chopped his face a couple plays before. But then it was 4-1, playing to 11, got to win by 2. I drove, got past him nicely. And then I did a pump fake like that, and he came with all of his might and drilled me right in the ribs. I held on. I finished the hoop, but I think it was 5-1 at that point. And it kind of hurt, and I'm like, ooh. And then as I went along, it hurt even more, but I toughed it out because he said, Dad, if you tap out, I get the victory. The other thing that's going on with these victories is his mother promised that if he can beat me 5 times, that he gets a new in-ground nice hoop versus kind of the standalone hoop that we have now. Plus more, so I don't care about spending the money on that. It's more my pride of losing. I don't like to lose. So it got worse and worse. And then it finally got to the point where I was barely walking around, and it was like 11 o'clock. And we decided to go to after hours. And then they did the whole CT scan and, checked to see if I had any internal bleeding, if I had any broken bones. And I kind of unfortunately, it was just badly bruised because my wife's, she doted on me and took wonderful care of me all weekend. But once she heard that it wasn't broken and it was just bruised, I think her pity level kind of went down a notch or two, which is understandable. But the last few days, it's been feeling better. I kind of rested on Friday, took it a little easy on Saturday. Probably did a little too much yesterday. I'm still having to sleep, kind of sitting up and stuff, but I'm going to survive. I'm going to survive. So thank you for all of your immense amounts of concern. Good morning, Rhonda. It's also a little different because the next 2 weeks, my wife is going back to school to kind of prep. She's a music teacher. So the kids are still home this week and next week while my wife is going and doing the teacher training. So there's going to be a lot of Remodeler Show coming to you live from the homestead. Today I'm set up in the kitchen looking into the living room there. I might switch things up as we go along. So why do we do the Remodeler Show? The Remodeler Show is primarily focused on sharing different ideas, different nuggets of knowledge, different things, different reminders, to help you become a better remodeler. I'm enjoying doing it. I think I don't know how many shows we're in, maybe 25, 30 at this point, and I'm really enjoying it. One of the things that we started a little while ago that we're going to bring back tomorrow is for me to have a remodeler come on live, kind of almost a live 30-minute coaching call, if you will. And Tate Watson is going to be joining tomorrow. Some of the questions that Tate had related to, where are you at here? I had written them down here. No, I didn't. Oh, there it is on this other page. He wants to know how he's marketing to high-end out-of-town vacation homeowners. He's marketing to high-end out-of-town vacation homeowners and wanted to brainstorm some ideas on how to reach those folks. Feel free to comment if you have some thoughts on that. He also wanted to talk about ideas to keep a tight ship and maintaining good profit margins with fast growth. Personnel, organization, higher owner roles, hiring, what pitfalls to avoid. He's gone from 600K to 1.7 million to 2.3 million is what he's projecting this year. 600 to 1.7 to 2.3. He's growing, and he can see how he's going to be over 3 million here pretty soon. Bigger job, size jobs on average. Average is over 300K jobs. So we're going to get into that and more on tomorrow's show. So if you ever want to be a guest on the Remodeler Show, just reach out to myself, reach out to Bailey, and we'll get you on there. All right, so a couple different topics for you. One is Michael Anschel. So sorry to hear they're dealing with an employee that has COVID. Just kind of a reminder. One, you can go to Remodeler's Community and just look at his post. There's some good mitigation and some how he's followed up with this, and some other people commented on this topic. But just this reminder that we have to continually take this serious. If your team or your subs or your trades are getting a little lazy with wearing masks or doing some of the precautions that you have in place, make sure this might be a good day to just revisit that. You are one positive case away from perhaps having to quarantine a good chunk of your team. It can make a huge impact on things. And sometimes it's inevitable and we can't, even with the best mitigation, it happens. And other times maybe we're being a little too lax and we need to just remind our team why we're doing it and what we're expecting and what our expectations are. So keep that in mind. Michael, hopefully everybody's safe. You guys bounce back and get healthy soon. Okay. So I'll chime it up as we go from topic to topic. Another one, this is just a little bit related to a piece of technology, and I had just used it earlier today. So there's your technology thing. Just used it earlier today, and it's called Grammarly, Grammarly. If you are typing fast and you make a lot of spelling mistakes, I don't care if you're on Facebook or if you're on Instagram, if you're in your inbox, if you're anywhere on your computer, Grammarly is there to help you fix spelling mistakes and errors. So it's just a simple little tool, but one that I just used earlier. I go, ooh, I should mention that on the Remodeler Show in case people don't have that installed on their computer. If you just go to Grammarly, Grammarly.com, you can download that. Cool. Beautiful scenery this Monday morning. It's afternoon here, Rhonda, by the way. What we have in the background there this is my wife's handiwork. See, turning like that still hurts pretty bad. But she has made our house absolutely beautiful. What you see over my left shoulder is a beautiful crow on a beautiful piece of art. It is, I can't remember the exact details of it, but when you get close to it, and I can't carry it and stuff, but it is I think it's Japanese. It is hand carved. This artist carves it out, and then he does different layers on it. So when you get up close to it, you can see these different layers of carving, and then they make so many of them, and then in tradition, they destroy the originals. So there's a store that my wife absolutely loves called the Artisan's Bench. It's in beautiful Brighton, Michigan, and that was a present last year. Okay. Bailey says, we got some questions, so feel free to bring in some questions. How do you schedule your week/day to optimize productivity? What works best for you? Just to give you guys some behind the scenes of the Remodeler Show, I have several things to talk about, including what you see scrolling along the bottom, because we've got the courses and the classes for the fall all set. I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. But I texted Bailey right before we started. I said, ooh, I've got several things, but if you have a couple questions that you toss in, that would be much appreciated by yours truly. And look at, she's delivering the goods. And it's a good question. How do you schedule your week/day to optimize productivity? What works best for you? So I'll share a couple thoughts on my end, but more so just what I see with some clients. So for me, just looking at my overall calendar for the week, at the start of the week or on Friday the week before is helpful. It was interesting. I was looking last night at my week, and this afternoon I've got kind of back-to-back calls, and I was already kind of mentally telling myself, ooh, I have the privilege of getting to talk to Todd. I'm talking to Todd Christian at 1:00. And, I get to have a first call with Jeff, a new client at 3:30. It's easy to look at meetings on our calendar and kind of be like, oh, got too many meetings. I got this other work to do, versus looking at it with a positive attitude and, wow, I get to serve these people. So that's a good reminder and something that's related to my schedule that I just looked at. For me, I try to leave little gaps in between my meetings so that I can catch up on things. Back-to-back meetings are a little bit harder to kind of come up for air. Monday mornings and Friday afternoons, I try to leave pretty open, which has allowed me to close the week on a high note and also just kind of get into the week. The other big thing for my business and with my assistant Bailey is that we have scattered throughout the week, 4 or 5 Bailey Kyle Blitz meetings. These are meetings where we just save a bunch of different topics. I might forward an email, I might send a quick note, and we just have a list of topics. So we attack them all at once, which helps us be a lot more productive and crank through things a lot quicker. Probably the biggest thing related to the remodeling side is I have a lot of clients who have fairly blank calendars. They have calendar appointments for meetings with clients, but they have a lot of open space where there's plenty they're doing. But it's just kind of open space. One of the things that I've seen work nicely for a lot of my clients is even though you don't have a official meeting from 10 to 11 o'clock on Tuesday morning, if you actually put it on your calendar that you're going to work on the hunt estimate or the hunt design from 10 to 11 o'clock, and you actually schedule this ambiguous work that you might have, that is such a helpful way to stay focused and to just schedule from start to finish your day versus having these open time frames where, yes, you're going to work on estimating, or generically, you're going to work on the business stuff, or you're going to work on ordering materials. The more specific you can get in your schedule, I've seen that be a very helpful thing for a lot of my clients. Thank you for that question, Bailey. All right, excellent. Another thing that, and I'll share my screen or link to it. I created a piece of content that came back on my radar here recently, and the title of it said, "You might see a mess. I see $5,400 of savings." I was talking with one of my Florida clients. This is from several months back, last year I think it was, and there was just a bunch of stuff stacked in the back of his office. I'm like, man, Sean, what's going on? There's a lot more stuff back there. And he said, well, I decided that I didn't need to spend another $450 every month for a storage unit that I had been renting for a long time. And yes, I've got a bunch of stuff back here to kind of sift through and go through, but I also have $450 of monthly savings that, frankly, I was kind of just giving away, and it was kind of wasting money. So I highlighted that. And the main thought here is you work so hard to earn dollars in your remodeling business. These are hard-earned dollars. It's a hard business. You guys are working so hard. Make sure that every dollar you spend, you hold accountable. It is wise to go through and look at all of the different software, all of the different monthly expenses, the advertising, the marketing, the rentals, all these different things to make sure that the dollars that you're investing have a ROI attached to them. And I think sometimes we can get a little sloppy with that and realize even a $30 a month charge, if you're not using it, when you multiply 30 times 12 and you have $360, and if I had that in cash and I said, you're really spending this amount of cash on that and you're barely even using it? Or in this case, you're spending $450 a month, over $5,400. If you were holding cash, it would get your attention. Just to hold that crap that you could probably donate half of it or figure out a way to have that in other areas instead of spending $450 on that storage unit. When you challenge your different charges, a lot of times you make some tweaks and make some changes. So that's just kind of a little bit of a random one, but I think a good reminder. Okay, rock and roll. So if I could here at the halfway mark of today's Remodeler Show, tell you about what you see at the bottom there that says remodelersmasterclass.com. It's actually a domain name I've had for a long time. So when we were sitting there going, hey, what landing page should we use for the courses we're doing this fall? I said, oh, I already own remodelersmasterclass.com. Let's just use that instead of getting something new. But if you go there, you will see a nice little intro video taken. You will see 4 little videos that tell you about each of the different courses. There's one in September, October, November, December. And then further down is some written detail on each of the different courses. So if I could tell you about it a little bit, I would love to do that. Piper, would you like to make an appearance on the Remodeler Show? No, Piper says no. She is tiptoeing up because the kids heard that Dad's got a 12 o'clock to 12:30 live show, and I need you guys to be quiet during this time. Yet she's still coming up to look in the fridge. What are you looking for, honey? Oh, she would like the people to know that we have no more root beer. We had some friends over for an outdoor dinner the other night, and they brought root beer, which is a little bit of a special thing for the Hunt House. Usually we just got milk and water. So she was looking to see. Yeah, Bailey wants to see Piper. No, it was a hard no on that. But let me share my screen and I will show you guys just a little bit about these courses that we have coming up so that you guys can be aware of it. Again, remodelersmasterclass.com is where you can see the details. But we'll share our screen. We'll do this. Bada bing, bada boom. There we go. So what we got going, fall 2020, finalizing or fine-tuning your foundations for future growth and success. What you'll see here is just a little intro video, about 3 minutes long, where I just kind of go through what we're up to. Down here, you're going to see details on September, October, November, December, and then further down, just the details on each. What we're going to cover in September is a marketing-related item. When I look at all of the different ways that you can be marketing your business, an area that is often underappreciated, that is often a little messy, that is often not having a multifaceted, focused approach to it, is how we stay in touch with our previous clients. Your previous clients, when you look at the top line revenue that's coming into your business, the dollars that are actually going into your bank account, more times than not, the majority of those dollars are coming through repeat work from previous clients or referrals from previous clients. Yet often it's been 2 years since we have even reached out to them or stayed in touch with them, or years even more. If I did a project with you 2 years ago, a lot of remodelers will respond to this question of, have they heard from you since you finished that project, with a big fat, no, I need to do something about that. We're going to focus that course. There's 4 classes that are part of that, specifically on having a rockin' one-to-many and one-to-one way that we're following up with them. In October, we're getting into charging for design and project development. This is 5 courses, 5 classes rather, 90 minutes each. And we are going to really dig into this challenging, hard, powerful, important topic of how do we effectively charge for design and project development? How do we implement this if we don't have it in place right now at all? How do we continue to fine tune and tweak it? How do we get this in place and solid? In November, we're going to get into 5 powerful words when talking with a remodeling prospect. This is how we work. At the end of that course, you're going to have a rock solid process that homeowners will be able to review and see. Homeowners will be able to have clarity on step-by-step how you're going to walk them through the remodeling process. Confused homeowners don't buy. Clear ones that understand how the process works, they are more apt to buy. And this is something that, as my remodelers have gotten this in place over the years, has been just very powerful and helpful in getting them to move more prospects from the prospect stage to actual paying projects. And then in December, early December, we're going to have a series of classes, and this course is going to be on creating our 2021 business budget. We're going to dig into analyzing and looking at our profit and loss statement. We're going to evaluate, compare kind of what you're making, your margins with what I see as far as industry best practices. We're going to challenge and look at your markup that you're charging. We're going to kind of dream a little bit about what this upcoming year looks like, and we're going to create the deliverable of an actual 2021 well thought out, personalized business budget. So you can buy, just one more thing on this and then I'll move on. You can buy an individual course if you want to take 1 or 2 of them. But I've kind of structured this and priced this with the thought that hopefully there's going to be 15 or 20 of you who want to just spend the fall digging in to all of these courses. So they're priced accordingly, where if you bought each of the 4 courses individually, there's about $2,800. But the cost is $1,497 to take all 4 classes. And that saves you almost $1,300 on it. So I'm kind of pricing and structuring it, thinking, you know what, I would love to be able to have the continuity of digging in with 15 or 20 of you to just walk you through each of these different courses. It's going to be all focused not on more and more and more information, but more so focused on implementation and results. So I'm really looking forward to it. So if you go to remodelersmasterclass.com, we just put the finishing touches on this morning. By golly, if you signed up now, you'd be the first one. And I've come up with a special prize for the first one. All right, so that's that. Looking forward to telling you more about that as we go along. Stop screen share. There we go. Okay. Nobody has any comments about that yet? You guys were all listening to me intently. All right, so that is related to that. Let's hit the chime and move on to the next one. The next thought, the next idea I had for you on today's Remodeler Show, it comes from a conversation I had last week with a client where they were lamenting, would probably be a good word for it, about a plumber they have that's been their primary plumber for years. And you've probably heard this story before. Started out kind of as a one-man show. He's continued to build his plumbing business. He's got multiple employees now. What they charge has continued to go up as the gentleman has been building his business. And as the business and as the work pulls further away from the owner of the business, communication, quality, just the overall experience that my client receives and his client receives on the projects has started to fall down a little bit. And we brainstormed a little bit of a heart-to-heart that needs to happen and a conversation that needs to happen, but also this idea that we cannot put all of our eggs in one basket. We cannot have one trade partner for each of our trades. We cannot have that risk of having only one person we can call when we need electrical work done, when we need drywall work done. Yes, partially because people get busy. We need some flexibility, but also because things change. So this idea of being loyal to our trade partners, I love it. And I think loyalty can look like I send 80% of my work their way. But where do I send the other 20%? Or maybe I send 90% of my work that way, but there's 10% that I send elsewhere. We need to continue to deepen our bench of trade partners, of options that we have. We need to make sure we don't have all of our eggs in one basket. And we need to have somebody else that we have a relationship with, that we can call on, that we can get another number from time to time if you're feeling the need to do that. And just make sure that we don't have only one person that we're relying on. That struck him. And he goes, I just have been so loyal. I hadn't even thought about, having another option. So that's something for you to consider. Along a similar vein is just this concept and understanding that you guys always need to be recruiting. You always need to be recruiting. We need to make sure that even if you don't need that new lead carpenter, even if you don't need that other person in the field, there's a lot of wisdom in having a job ad out there regularly. If somebody reaches out and applies, you have a little bit of a process, not to immediately just get on the phone, but that you walk them through that lets you know a little bit more about them. The worst case of you see somebody that looks really solid and you have an interview with them and you say, look, things have changed a little bit. We don't have an opening right now for you, but boy, that could change in 2 weeks. It could change in 2 months. I would still love to interview you, for us to get to know each other and just have that connection, and because we don't know what it might turn into in the future. Always be recruiting. The other thing related to finding good team and finding good trade partners is with the same gusto and the same intensity that you bring to taking a kitchen remodeling prospect and turning them into a client. All that work that you do, all that work that you put in to make sure that you're differentiating yourself, that you show up on time, that you're sharp, that you're doing all of the little things to separate yourself from anybody else they're talking to. You've got to sell prospective employees. You got to sell prospective trade partners with that same amount of intensity and thought of what makes us different. Why is this a great place to work? Sell yourself, especially in an environment like this where it's still hard to find good people. So there's some thoughts for you related to that. Alan says, send me an email on the classes. Just caught the end of the details. Alan, I will do that. Bailey, I bet you Bailey in the next 5 minutes, by the time I get off of this Remodeler Show, she's probably going to have that to you, Alan. Good. So it's remodelersmasterclass.com. And we'll make a post. Actually, I recorded a piece of content earlier with my dog Lucy. Since I'm home here, you'll see that on Remodelers Community here later today, promoting the course because it was fun. All right, cool. So we've got the injury update, very important, obviously. Tomorrow we got Tate coming on board. We're going to talk about high-end out-of-town vacation homeowners and talk some strategy related to that. Told you about Grammarly, which is a nice little tool to help you just be more professional and for you to quickly and easily spell check things. We talked about COVID a little bit. Talked about looking at your expenses and making sure that you're not that you shave and that you get rid of expenses that aren't valuable to you. You guys are working so hard to have dollars of profit in your business. Let's make sure we're not wasting it on software or on, in the case example I used of a $450 a month rental that we're just not using. Talked about a little bit about the idea of all your eggs in one basket, always be recruiting. Covered several things today in this fast moving Remodeler show. And we also talked about the courses that we have coming up this fall, one a month from September through December. What other questions might we have, folks? Bailey just did, she said, what is the special prize? I haven't figured that one out yet. I'm sure if I looked around, I could find something. I did make some chicken nuggets for the kids for lunch. I did, there's some leftovers there. I could package those up. That does bring another topic to mind. There's probably, if you're anything like the Hunt House, this fall is going to be a little crazy. My wife is a music teacher at the kids' school. You know, are we sending the kids back? Are the kids allowed to go back? Is it going to be canceled? What are the ramifications? Is my wife going to work from home? There's just so many things up in the air right now. And when you think about your own situation, and in particular, what's coming to my mind are your employees. All of your employees are trying to figure this out. You might have that mom who during the school year comes in and does your office, is your office manager, that all of a sudden, even though she could be working or he could be working in the office, they still have child care issues. There's just a lot going on. And the thing that comes to my mind is, yes, we have to get work done, but we also should be full of some empathy and some grace for our team. What a way to build loyalty by being flexible, working with them, understanding that they're trying to juggle and balance things, having a little bit of flexibility and understanding in how your team is working. Yes, we would love to go back to you're in the office and we're at 100% productivity and we don't have no other things to worry about, but we are still in a global pandemic or an epidemic or whatever we want to call it. And the schooling stuff is going to be kind of start-stop, I bet. There's going to be just a lot of things that we're still dealing with this fall. So just that reminder of, your employees don't work for you solely because you pay them a good wage. The only lever you can pull to make them more productive or efficient is not you have to pay them more, you have to bonus them more. A lot of times that attaboy or attagirl, that recognition of the contribution they make, that flexibility you show them when things are nuts and they need some flexibility. How you work with them with paid time off, versus just more money perhaps. Yes, how you do incentivize them with maybe a bonus structure or with some other benefits that you can offer. But just that reminder that, I'm experiencing it, right? I got three of the 4 kids are home today, still getting work done. I think a lot of us have found that we can be just as productive at home as we are in the office in a lot of ways. And things. So just be full of grace, a little bit of understanding as you work with your team. Cool. All right, folks. It'll be me and Tate tomorrow. We'll do a little bit of a live coaching call on some things, and then we'll have some good Remodeler show on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week. Hope you're having a productive day. Enjoy the work that's in front of you, whatever you're working on today. Have a good attitude about it. Man, a little shift in attitude goes a long ways. And also just work towards implementing something. And also, I would love some of you to sign up for the courses this fall. Go to remodelersmasterclass.com and hopefully you can join me for those. See you tomorrow, folks. Later.